Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video of Hubert. Today's video will be a sort of remake of a previous older video that was actually a revision of a video that I did for Outlast week back in 2020, in which it basically covered the secondary vocational block, or secret building as I called it prior to making that video. Much like the other videos in that series, that video is a few years old now, and as a result, no longer really stands up to par when compared with more recent videos I've made, so I figured it wouldn't hurt to remake it. Now, I did release a video on the secondary vocational block last year, in which I basically did a detailed review of it, along with the other main sections of the game, but I feel like having a separate video going more into detail on why I referred to the secret building as a secondary vocational block, and how I came to that conclusion in the first place would sort of complement it better. So it isn't a video idea that I totally want to abandon, since I will be removing the older video from public access as I release this one that will essentially serve as its replacement. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and without further interruption, let us begin. The secret building or secondary vocational block is a large structure located all the way at the back of the complex behind the first vocational block. You are able to see its exterior in the drawing ground chapter of Outlast Whistleblower, but you cannot normally access its interior, and even if you are able to with the use of mods, there is no interior to be seen. In fact, it is the only major section of both games that we do not end up visiting. In a few words, it is a copy of the vocational block, only it is one that you do not end up going inside of in the game. Since the structure is apparently modeled after the vocational block, it probably means that it really cannot be used for something completely different than what the vocational block is used for. The term vocational refers to an occupation or employment, so it is likely that as the patients engaged in tasks like sewing and woodworking at the vocational block, this would be a way for patients to pursue careers once they actually left the asylum. In fact, occupational therapy actually played a significant role in patient treatment at Buffalo State Hospital, now the Buffalo Psychiatric Center, part of the Richardson Olmsted Complex or campus, which was the inspiration for Mount Massive Asylum. While patients were never forced to work, work was encouraged to help patients maintain a sense of normalcy and routine, while helping to combat boredom and to enhance self-esteem. This not only provided valuable occupational skills to patients, but the work they did also helped to sustain the institution. There were several key employment areas for both men and women on the site, in addition to the hospital farm, as well as greenhouses. Day habilitation continues to be used to this day, as persons with mental illness are often employed in sheltered workshops and supervised employment. Interestingly enough, a viewer by the name of Dasher Beats put forward his own theory on what he thinks the purpose of the structure is. This is what he left in the comments on one of my videos. There are two vocational blocks, male and female. Later on in the comment thread, he also added, "This makes sense because insane/criminals never have unisex workplaces/clinic wards. Only prison can be unisex because of its capsule type, so the secret building is just another copy of Kluskin's lair, just with female working inventory, but with the same layout." Up until the 1950s and 60s, patients were segregated in pretty much every one of these asylums/state hospitals. Even, again bringing up Buffalo State Hospital, had separate facilities for male and female patients. These facilities were almost always identical and included locations such as the patient wards, tuberculosis wards, and dining halls. Since Mount Massive Asylum opened its doors in 1967, it would most likely follow the same guidelines based on the separate facilities for men and women, which we already do see with the male and female wards, so it is therefore not unreasonable to assume the very same concept would also apply to the workspaces. The long hallway we're passing to the tower leads to female vocational through the prison, so female patients are passing the prison and going to their work since male patients roam through the one hallway. The hallway in question that he's referring to is the hallway that we passed through in the drying ground just after escaping a variant who pursues Waylon after shutting off the electricity. This also checks out as the structure containing the hallway connects to not only the secondary vocational block, but also to the prison block. What is even more intriguing is the area it would lead to in the prison is C block, and according to him, this would be the female side of the prison. Also, we haven't seen the C block of the prison, so it contained female criminals before the pregnancy incident. Since there are no women at Mount Massive Asylum by the time the events of Outlast and Outlast Whistleblower take place, it would help explain why this section of the prison is abandoned, save for a pile of corpses, when compared to B block or D block, which are occupied by variants. Once again, the male and female prisoners would be kept separate, so realistically, there would have to be two separate workspaces. To better clarify, the male patients would take this route from either the male ward or prison block to get to their vocational block, while the female patients take this route from either the female ward or prison block to their vocational block. As a result, this keeps both genders of patients completely separate. Like I've said before, this would help explain the purpose of the long structure in the drawing ground, and also why there appear to be two of the exact same buildings. Just like there are two similar ward buildings for each gender, plus a third one to house violent patients in the form of the prison block, it is highly likely that this logic and reasoning can apply to another pair of buildings that are very similar externally. A better argument could have been made if perhaps this building happened to look much more different to the vocational block, but since they are almost identical and comparable in size to each other, then it is in all likelihood going to serve the same purpose, with the only major difference being who the space is meant to be used for. So basically, the most likely purpose of the secret building is that it is simply just another vocational block, but for female patients. Let me know what you guys think of Dasher Beats' theory, but just remember that this is just a little fan theory, so please do not take this too seriously, because at the end of the day, we do not have confirmation that this is what the function of the secret building is. So I would be curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are on it, and that will be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video as always. So until then, goodbye for now, everyone.